Okay, this is the chair that I constructed on Wednesday when it arrived, and that's the Kmart one. It came in a flat pack, and it went fairly smoothly. I first off had trouble getting those little wheels into the base there, but that eventually, yeah, you could work them in. It was fine. Went fairly well up to the point where I got these handles in and the base there. That was the hardest part, was actually just aligning the two sections there. Getting the holes aligned so that I could put the bowl in, and that was the toughest part of it. But now I know how to do it. The second one will be pretty easy to do, I'd imagine. But it's quite a comfortable chair. So it's about 129 bucks for these chairs, and the delivery for one chair I think was about 70. The first chair and the second chair went down to 40. So it's a fair bit, but I don't have a car, and it just made life a little easier. And they don't, I think all this stuff actually comes from warehouses now. You can't just get it from Kmart's. I might be wrong there, but that's my understanding, because I don't think you can't buy them at Bunnings. Which is a real pain, because that would have been the go-to place. It's about the closest place to me. But so today what I've got to do is, the other item that was delivered on Wednesday was the washing machine, and here it is. But what I need to do is remove 4 bolts from the rear of the machine, and then attach the cold water hose, which is inside there at the moment, onto one of those taps. I won't be using the hot water one because it's a different design. And there's the rear there, and these are the bolts that need to be loosened. The 4 bolts. I need to loosen them and also get this off the base. I'll try doing that in a sec, but that's why I was hoping Dale, my handyman, would be with me and be able to help me just ease that out. But I'll work out a way of getting it off the base, and then have a go at those bolts. And then after that, it should be fairly straightforward to go according to the instructions. So we'll see how we go. Well, I'm just carrying out the first experiment with my new washing machine. One thing I did notice is that it's not quite flush with the finishing of the just there. I put it on a rinse and spin cycle. I've hand washed a number of items that I had to get done, and just in case I was going to stuff up with the actual washing machine. But what I decided to do was just take out one of my my polo tops and put it in for a spin and a rinse and spin, and see how it goes. If it works okay, I'll do the rest of the wash that way and hang it up to dry. So it looks as though one thing I've established is that there's no leaking, so that's good. That's the cold water tap, and it goes to the back there, and that seems to be all okay. So that's important. Power's obviously working. I've just got it a little outside just in case there is any leaks. That's why I didn't push it right into its slot. But so far so good. I had to remove these very long screws. They were a bit of a pain. A couple of them were anyway, and they had these lugs in them. You had to be removed, and they provided you with little push little tops that would go slide into the cavity, and so that all worked out fairly well. So far so good. It looks as though it's working. It's giving me a countdown. It doesn't seem to be moving much. I can hear squishing sounds, but no sort of actual movement of it moving the clothes. But we'll see how the spin goes. That'll be the test. Oh, actually, now it's doing something. Oh, there's a bit of action. That looks a bit better. Yeah, anyway, it's a relief to finally get the thing going. So I've actually had success with both the chair, the office chair that I constructed. That's very comfortable, and it seems to be working fine. And the only other thing I've got to do is actually check out the evaporative fan. Only reason I bought the evaporative fan is because it runs on batteries, and if I lost power here in the middle of a stinking hot day, I want some alternative that's battery powered, because at the very least I'm going to need a fan. Even though evaporative is pretty much an inferior way of cooling, it's better than nothing, I guess. It does provide you with a couple of these cooling sachets that go in to the actual device. So we'll see how that goes, but not everything I buy from Kmart is particularly great. Like the sound system I bought I think is rather ordinary, and that if it was easy to send it back, I would. I don't think it's particularly good, or I might just give it to a friend, because it just doesn't have any grunt. The sound bar that I bought, which is over here, and it's just basically just sitting there doing nothing now. So that's about the biggest dud item I think I've bought from Kmart. Everything else seems to work okay. The convection microwave oven's been brilliant, really good. I haven't used the blender yet. I wasn't able to whip cream with it, so maybe it is a dud, but I'm not sure yet. I think the jury's got to be out on that one. Anyway, the main thing is it looks as though the washing machine's working, so that's a big relief. I was actually right about there not being a happy hour on Saturday. You have to pay full. It's an extra $2. It's still not bad, I guess. $7.50 for a schooner. I just had a couple. What was worse was that socially it wasn't great. So spat the old dummy. So the other problem was too, there was a bit of noise there because I had a live band, and it was particularly difficult to hear people. Although if you had someone next to me, it was like fine. I could hear what they were saying, and I was having a conversation with a guy. Actually was telling me about the plovers. Apparently the council do remove them. He'd been in Palm Cove for 16 years, so he knows the area pretty well. I got a bit of exercise. It's a beautiful day for a walk. I'm going to double up on the exercise because I'm walking home as well, so that's not a bad thing. Addendum, I actually did go to the there's a local convenience store just in Trinity Beach, and they did have hats they were selling there, but they were $29.95, and you pick up the same thing at a supermarket probably for about $6. So yeah, my replacement hat will not be purchased from people like that. It's just that's very much tourist prices. I would also have a New York insignia on it as well, NY something or other, which I don't want anyway. I want something neutral. Oh, having another walk, this time down to the beach. Sunday, don't normally do it on Sunday, usually do it on the weekdays, but we'll see how crowded it is. It's a bit threatening weather-wise, so it may not be that bad. That's why I got my umbrella with me. It was good to walk to the beach house yesterday and return. I actually withdrew from that group when I got back, because one of the people there was fairly rude. It's happened to me a couple of times at the beach house, actually, at their gatherings. I mean, I appreciate the work that the organisers of the group put in, because it's, they don't get paid anything for it, so I do appreciate their efforts and what have you, but I think if I want to mix with a group of people, it's always better to be in a common interest group, because obviously then you've got something in common to talk about. If you've just got some generic sort of social group, there's not really much to sort of bind you together, apart from the fact that a lot of the people are from interstate and they've relocated. Yeah, I don't think it's the best way to form friendships and what have you. I've found that when you go to school or whatever, or your workplace, that's generally where you have more success. course, there's no guarantees. But like I said, at least, you know, hats off to them for setting up a meetup group, and it's been fairly successful, so good luck to them. But it was turning into a negative for me. So that might be my problem rather than theirs, so that's why I hope they go well. Generally, a lot of these meetup groups don't last more than a year or so anyway, depending on the nature of the group. So they'll be doing well if they go through next year intact, because, you know, people's lives change, their priorities change and what have you, and it does require a little bit of effort there. They've got to do some work to corral people. So, you know, like I said, I appreciate that, the work they put in. So I didn't take the move lightly, but I don't think they'll miss me. I think they really care one way or the other. So, and that may be part of the problem. I don't think I clicked as well as I probably thought I did initially. So that's fine. Anyway, the walk was good, the walk there and back. I was surprised I didn't mind actually walking back home. I left about, probably about 5-ish, so I was only there for about an hour. And yeah, it didn't worry me at all, doing another long walk. Quite enjoyed it. Maybe that's telling me something. I need to do that more regularly. I was thinking about getting on the bike, but the weather's looking threatening on the radar, but it doesn't seem that way actually out on the road. That's why I got the umbrella with me. Umbrella's also a good thing to have in case the plover bird goes crazy. If you actually extend an umbrella, that could put them off. One of the people there actually at the meetup yesterday did actually say to me that they thought the council did have an animal control person. Although I haven't heard anything back from the council for 3 days, which is a bit unusual. But maybe they're snowed under. So apparently they do have that type of service. I thought they might, because I assume there'd be a demand for it here. But it'd be good if they could remove the bird from the street. It's just inappropriate being in a suburban setting. Move them to bushland, they'd be happier and I'd be happier. I'm surprised my neighbours haven't kicked up over it. I mean, most of them have got dogs, so the birds could attack dogs quite easily. So, yeah, okay, well, surprising. But it's a funny world we live in these days, because there seems to be a greater tolerance towards venomous animals and what have you. They all have to be protected. Crocodiles have to be protected. Humans seem to be a low priority for protection. It's a bizarre world we live in. Like, that's nice, isn't it? Very tropical over there. Cool. This is the nicest part of the suburb, so it's nice to walk down here just for this reason alone, just to sort of soak up the atmosphere here. But it's quite still, there's no breeze. Hopefully down near the beach there will be. I was watching a bit of the West Indies test. It's a bit of a joke, God, they're uncompetitive compared to Australia these days. They used to be a very strong team, but they're a shadow of their former self, although there's a rearguard action happening at the Perth where they're playing. Don't ask me what the corporate name of the stadium is these days. I hate the way they name stadiums with corporate names, because then I never have any idea where the venue is. Yeah, but the world runs on money, I guess. Anyway, they're 7 wickets down. They've got to make up another, I think, 190 runs or something to win the match. So it's pretty much an impossible task, but they're playing quite well. I saw a few sixes being hit, so it was entertaining stuff anyway. And it's good to see them going down fighting. So they were trounced in the first innings, that's for sure. So yeah, those electric scooters are very popular. Yeah, I've got my dag hat on again, but I'll be turfing this and switching to one from Kmart, and they're only about, look them up online, they're about $5, $5 to $6 for a hat, compared to the one yesterday I saw advertised for $29.95, which is pretty expensive, but that's what you expect if you go to a tourist area, get ripped off. Anyway, I'll head down towards the beach and I'll walk in amongst the water, cool me down a little bit, get a bit of exercise. Definitely think I need to do this more regularly. Quiet here actually, it's quieter than during the week, which is not what I expected. Let's see what the water's like. Pretty warm, I'd say. Apparently those small stingers, what they call the Irukandji or whatever, they apparently they're already out and about, and there's one particular breeding zone not far up there somewhere. It's a double island there, I think. And apparently there is one area where those small jellyfish do breed. And I was thinking, well, why don't they just go out there and zap them en masse? I mean, again, you know, person speaking just said, oh, well, you know, because you've got to protect the bloody environment. I mean, that's the trouble. People think that way these days. It's a sin to meddle with nature. It's just it's funny how that philosophy has taken over in educational institutions. I mean, it's a tragedy that we've hunted animals and plant life to extinction, whatever. Not hunting plants, but you know what I mean, exploiting them to extinction and hunting animals to extinction. Yeah, I mean, it's tragic, and that's a big mistake, because yeah, just but I think we've gone too far the other way now. Just absurd that you can't, everything nature is perfection, and we can't tamper with it at all. Although the great irony of that is that we're all eating genetically engineered plants these days anyway, so what a joke that is. Fundamentally, that's probably one of the biggest tampering with nature you could have, because you don't even know about it half the time. It's in your food and you've got no idea what you're eating. And there's a report on Tucker Carlson talking about the sperm counts for males has been dropping. It's like 10% per decade or something like that, something pretty high. You will not be born because the sperm count's too low, so conception won't occur. And so rather than worried about population explosion in the world, it appears as if we could have the total opposite problem and worrying about just total extinction of our own species. Now that's sort of something to think about. Won't happen overnight, but they say it's environmental factors causing it, chemicals and things. So if it's things like that, I'd say that a place like China probably get in the neck worse than we with it. It's a very unclean environment apparently over there. They envy our relatively clean environment here. Anyway. Well, there are a few locals here. Whenever he's swimming. Anyway, it's good to get out and about and connect with the old beach again.
a regular basis.
Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great.